So imagine telling your employees that they will get a bonus if you're performing above standards, then gaslight them when you lie. Who could have predicted that employees would not like that? Now I'm talking about MillerKnoll CEO Andy Owen, who probably didn't expect to wake up to find out that she had gone viral, and not in a good way. Check out this video where she tells her employees to leave the pity party and get the damn $26 million.
Great question, Chris. And, a lot of questions came through about how can we stay motivated if we're not going to get a bonus? What can we do? What can we do? Some of them were nice and some of them were not so nice. So I'm going to address this head on. The most important thing we can do right now is focus on the things that we can control. None of us could have predicted COVID. None of us could have predicted supply chain. None of us could have predicted bank failures. But what we can do is stay in front of our customers, provide the best customer service we can, get our orders out our door, treat each other well, be kind, be respectful, focus on the future because it will be bright. It's not good to be in a situation we're in today, but we're not going to be here forever. It is going to get better. So lead by example, treat people well, talk to them, be kind, and get after it. Don't ask about what are we going to do if we don't get a bonus. Get the damn $26 million. Spend your time and your effort thinking about the $26 million we need and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. All right? Can I get some commitment for that? I would appreciate that. I had an old boss who said to me one time, you can visit Pity City, but you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done. Thank you. Have a great day.
Can you believe this, guys? Meanwhile, the company itself made almost $4 billion in revenue in 2022, and Owen herself received a whopping $5 million in pay and benefits in the prior year. This is all happening while the global health crisis has left many businesses struggling and laying off workers. And a recent study by AFL-CIO found that the gap between the CEO and worker wages have reached a historic high. Oh yeah, the greed has hit all-time highs. So according to this report, in 2021, CEOs earned 324 times the median worker's pay, with the average S&P 500 CEO earning about $18.3 million, while real wages decreased by 2.4%. So what do you guys think about that? So let me know your thoughts on CEOs and how they treat their workers in the comment section down below, guys. Yep, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the fact that while employees are facing layoffs, these CEOs enjoyed massive salary increases. Meta, HSBC, Netflix, we're going to cover all of them. Plus, how companies like Apple and Zoom saw their CEOs taking a massive pay cut, but really they're still making way more than the average American. So stay right there, guys. We're going to get to the bottom of this all together. Also, for the best way to invest in gold or silver, check out the links down below in the description of this video. So yeah, up first, Herman Miller, CEO Andy Owen, who arguably gave the best motivational speech ever for her employees to find employment elsewhere. It's just brilliant, right? So Owen was talking to all the employees about how they got to stay motivated even though times are tough and they might not get any bonuses. So the video went viral and got like 6 million views or something like that. And then the company had to do damage control, saying that people were taking the video out of context. Anyway, in the video, Owen said some pretty hurtful things. Like she told everybody to stop the whining and leave the pity party behind if they didn't get a bonus. Wow, can you believe that? Just cold-hearted. A former Knoll employee who asked not to be named said that it wasn't a surprise from Knoll's culture, but I hoped for my colleagues that the merger brought improvements, end quote. The video was not only shocking, but downright embarrassing for everybody who was involved. When your boss acts up like that, it's like, come on. How are we supposed to trust them? It's super demotivating and humiliating for everybody who works there. People online were freaking out about it too. They were like, what the heck, MillerKnoll? How are you going to fix this mess? Even if they do something to make up for it, the damage has really already been done. And let's be real, Andy Owen's comments were not cool at all. She showed zero empathy for her employees, which is really messed up. If she wants to make things right, she's going to have to do a lot more than just apologizing. Car company Ford had a very similar problem last year when they announced that they were going to pay lower level employees way less in bonuses than their higher ups at a 60% lower rate. Employees were like, that's not fair. And basically Ford had to backtrack. They're like, okay, we hear you. we're going to fix this. But honestly, companies shouldn't have to deal with this kind of stuff in the first place. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. If they don't handle it right, then they could lose like 20% of their stock value or more. Plus, it just makes the relationship between the employees and the company that much worse. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Miller Noel had a hard time hiring and keeping people after that one. If all they care about is money, then why should anybody want to work there? Just drop a quick amen in the comments down below. One more, Facebook Meta, or whatever they call themselves these days. So apparently some workers at Facebook's parent company Meta were pretty ticked off that top bosses got bonuses while thousands of their colleagues were getting laid off. They were like, why did executives get exceeds expectations ratings when they're the ones that caused all these layoffs? During a meeting with the boss man, Mark Zuckerberg, one employee straight up asked, where's the accountability? And Zuckerberg was all like, nah, I'm happy with how my top guys did in their new roles. But seriously, like, how can you be happy with them when they had to lay off 4,000 people across Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and virtual reality departments? It's like, come on, Zuck, get real. The workers are the ones who really make the company run, and they're the ones that are getting screwed over left and right. It's not fair for the higher-ups to get all the bonuses, all the accolades, while the rest of the team suffers, right? I mean, what do y'all think? And it's not just these two companies, really. The ongoing global crisis has thrown up major challenges for businesses across the world. With revenues and profits shrinking, many companies are struggling just to stay afloat. But what do companies do? They cut waves of employees and give CEOs bonuses. A new study by AFL-CIO on executive pay found that the CEO worker wage ratio has hit a historic high. In 2021, CEOs earned a whopping 324 times the median worker pay, with the average S&P 500 CEO making $18.3 million, while real wages decreased by 2.4%. Now, the report points out that while supply chain disruptions and lockdowns have contributed to inflation, I'll give them that, many companies use salary cuts and price hikes as an excuse while increasing prices and giving profits straight to the executives. Bertrand Bard, the finance chief of the World Bank, who received a $94,000 bonus for his supposed skills, by the way, all while being criticized by staff amidst the planned layoffs and the budget cuts at the bank. HSBC, the big bank, made less deals in 2022, so they decided to cut their bonus pool by 4% to $3.4 billion. And so that means less cash for the bankers who work there. But get this, even though there were smaller bonuses to go around, the CEO, Noel Quinn, got a 14% raise in his pay package, which is now at about $6.7 million compared to $6.1 million last year. Basically, that's a $600,000 a year raise. And so apparently, like, when you take into account all the long-term incentives, his total pay package could be as high as $13.1 million. It's crazy, right? Now let's talk about Netflix. Greg Peters, he just took over as CEO of Netflix earlier this year, and it looks like he's going to be making some serious bank. Now, apparently, he's going to get a sweet $3 million salary and over $17 million in stock options every year. And on top of that, he's slated to get a bonus of more than $14 million. And what do they give us? Stricter password sharing and ads. Crazy, right? And don't even get me started on their content library these days. Even companies where CEOs supposedly got pay cuts, they still come out on top. Now, one company that you won't find on the layoff list is Apple. While other players like Google and Meta are handing out pink slips left and right, Apple actually seems to be avoiding the axe for now. So in fact, back in January, CEO Tim Cook, he even volunteered to take a pay cut. And unlike some of his competitors, Cook wasn't busy hiring up a storm during the pandemic either. According to the Securities and Exchange Commission, Cook's salary target for 2023 is $49 million, which is a lot less than the $84 million that he made last year. That's a pretty big drop in pay, even for the big boss. It's about 40% to be exact. But really, you're going to complain to me about getting only $49 million as a salary for 1 year? Yeah, don't give me that, Apple. But still, at the same time, I got to give him props for taking it on the chin versus cutting some of the lower end people. Now, of course, there's Zoom. The big boss of Zoom, Eric Yuan, is taking a huge pay cut of 98% after his company let go 1,300 workers. He announced that the layoffs would affect teams across the whole company and that they were necessary because they overhired during the pandemic. Oops. In an email to staff, Yuan, he said that he was accountable for these mistakes and wanted to show it by taking action. So he slashed his own salary for the next year by 98% and given up his corporate bonus for 2023. His salary will drop down to $10,000, which is a big dip from his usual earnings. But really, this would put his annual salary at about $500,000. Now, even during the pandemic, lots of CEOs said that they had to take pay cuts to show that they were on the same team as their employees. But it turns out that their sacrifices were very, very small. A survey of about 3,000 public companies showed that the cuts, which were mostly salary reductions, were tiny compared to the boss's real pay last year. And that's because most of their cash comes from things like bonuses and stock awards. Now, surprisingly, only a small percentage of companies cut the pay of their top dogs at all, even though many businesses lost money and laid off employees. But even amid the companies that did cut pay, about 2/3 of the bosses only lost 10% or less of what they made in 2019. This includes big names like Disney, Delta, United, and Marriott, all of which laid off or furloughed employees or asked workers to take pay cuts. Now, this analysis shows how the pandemic has been way harder on regular workers than on the big bosses who make way more money. Like what one researcher said here, quote, "These salary cuts were more window dressing than anything else," end quote. You know, when I don't do my job, I get fired. When these CEOs underperform on a massive scale, they get a slap on the wrist, or even worse, they get rewarded with bonuses and stock options. And then they tell us worker wages are to blame for inflation? Really? Come on, let's be real here. Am I right, guys? So yeah, when companies talk about loyalty and putting in the extra effort at work, just keep these things in mind, because instead you could be exerting your spare time and spare effort into generating additional streams of income or reading up on investments like the stock market, real estate, or starting up your own side hustles or online businesses. Just my 2 cents here, guys. Let me know if you guys agree or even if you disagree. And hey, if you want to talk about adding more income streams and side hustles to your bank account, definitely hit me up in the comments down below. But for now, this is your financial update and daily news report. CEOs attacking employees while they take their cushy bonuses. The real deal with CEO compensation and employee layoffs, and what you should really be focused on instead of work. Now remember, for the best way to invest in gold, check out the links in the description down below this video, and know that knowledge is power and being informed is essential in today's fast-paced world. So I appreciate you guys watching. Big, huge thanks for dropping a like on the video. Y'all be safe, and I'll see you on the next one.